Welcome and hello to the TechGig podcast. I am your host Sukriti, and I'm here with an interesting coverage today. So, apps are becoming an important part of our lives, with most popular brands having their own mobile apps, and they interact with customers and raise their brand awareness. With the ever increasing use of smartphones of consumerism, I think every business uses an app to help boost sales, market its product, and improve its brand reputation. Using an app could be would be a normal part of our customer journey, or it could be very crucial to even finalize or commercialize when it comes to selling the product or the service. If if you as developers are having your own mobile app, or you're thinking of developing one, I have an expert here with me who is going to help you, understand how you can create your own app with just a few clicks. Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me the CEO and co-founder of Builder.ai, Mr. Sachin Duggal. Welcome to the show, Sachin. I am so delighted to have you here for the podcast today with me.
My pleasure is absolutely mine. Thank you for having me.
Sachin, without any further ado, I think I will quickly jump onto the questions because let's set up the curiosity amongst our listeners here today, who look at you as an inspiration of building a startup, and coming to this time frame wherein you are a successful person. You're the co-founder, you're the CEO. I think you're the right person to give the advices when it comes to building the app with Builder.ai. So my first question to you is, how does human-assisted AI shape the whole process of developing an app?
So look, I think it's a couple of things, right? You have to go to the high level macro trend, which is there are more people today building software than there's ever been before. Everyone is trying to unlock their human potential, and I think it's a given that unlocking human potential sort of goes lockstep with building software. There really doesn't exist a business, an idea, um, and it will definitely not exist in the next 5 years. That's not software powered or software first. And so you've now got a whole host of people, entrepreneurs, small businesses, micro SMEs, um, that need to grapple with this new reality. They don't want to be irrelevant in this world, so they know they need to build software, but it's the fear of failure that's stopping them getting there. And so these are customers that are not very technical, right? They don't know programming, they don't know product management, and nor should they. And so the real power here is, how do you help these people? Right? How do you give them the power to be relevant in an ever digital world? And so when you take a step back and you say, well, what is the common denominator amongst all of these potential customers and folks that want to build software now? The common denominator is they can all talk about what they want to do. And so my question is always, well, why can't software listen? And when we think about human-assisted AI, it's really around how much of the process and how much of what's in your head can we get out? Can we extrapolate? How much of what you're building are actually common features, we call them building blocks, and how much is unique, whether it's customization or really custom features. And the power here is that if we can take out everything that is repeatable, everything that requires collective insight, we can actually make the process extremely streamlined, really efficient, and return a massive ROI to the customer. And then we focus on using the human expertise on the things that make your application unique, the design, look and feel, like the last mile customization. And so when we talk about human-assisted AI, it's really that entire journey from how do we get out what's in your head into a set of features? How do we build these features without having human beings do everything? I give you a good example. When you go from design to code, just on the front end of an app, whether it's web or mobile, it roughly takes about 400 man hours in the traditional way. We can do the same thing in 57 seconds, right? And that's really the power of this sort of machine relationship, even though that design has been customized by an expert designer.
So some amazing, stats you've shared, Sachin, that when a particular time frame that is required, how passionately people look at it. I'm sure our listeners are making note of every advice that you're dropping in here in this conversation. Moving on to the next one. If people with minimum to no coding knowledge are empowered to create their own apps, do you think app development as a profession will be redundant, or will we still need professional app developers?
I think there's a couple of things to point out here. There's a global demand of about 450 million developers today. There's a global supply of around 50 million, give or take 10 million. So you don't have enough people anyway, right? So I think that's one. And the second thing is when you look at all the features, right, and you break an app into features, and you look at all the features that make up most of the applications that are being built, what you'll find is between 70 to 90% of the features are actually fairly standard, right? So the data we have is the top 30% of features that make up any app come from a basket of 19 features, the next 30% come from a basket of 51 features, and then there's a very long tail. And so this means that, and by the way, examples of this are every app has login, right? Logout, Facebook login, profile view, maybe it has a checkout page, maybe integrates with a payment gateway. These are very common, standard, reusable features. And what you need is to customize these and maybe add custom features that are unique to your application or your idea or your web experience. And that's where you need professional developers. We don't want to be wasting human talent doing the things that have been done a million times already. We want to use human talent to solve things that are unique to your business. And a really good lens to look at this is an average app dev team today is about 8 to 10 people. On the Builder platform, it's about 1.6 people. And interestingly, that ratio between, say, 8 to 10 and 1.6 is sort of like the ratio of demand to supply as well, right? 450 to 50. And the way we're going to be able to provide everyone that wants high quality software applications and that high quality experience, which they deserve, is to fundamentally reduce the amount of effort, human effort needed per unit of build, because demand is far exceeding supply at this point.
All right, so Sachin, this seems to be a very much a part of the automation that is going on globally. But do you think that this will also act as a threat, or this should be acted as an opportunity for people to learn?
I don't think it's a threat there. And the reason I don't think it's a threat is there's just so much demand. Today, the real threat in the market as it stands today is a lot of the demand is not going to get fulfilled. People will fail at building what they want. 82% of people fail anyway at trying to build what they want from a software perspective. And that means people will lose hope and there'll be a fair amount of despair. And that's actually a much bigger threat than whether you need professional app developers in the future or not. That being said, I don't think there's a future irrespective of what we see, ChatGPT and so on and so forth. I think the real power here is the ability to use human creativity for when you need a creative solution and when you want to be creative and when you want to customize. I don't see the benefit of using human creativity to do the same thing we've done a million times over.
Right. And how do you think then how are software developers or programmers, I should say, transforming the future of a self-reliant digital Bharat?
I think, it's that marriage between platforms like ours, and we're built in India and now built globally, but originally built in India and sold to the world. I think it's that partnership between platforms like ours that remove the complexity from the average buyer, make it reachable, make it affordable, make it more reliable, and at the same time, the vast human expertise that exists for customizing. Because if we're going to really deliver like a truly self-reliant digital India, we're only going to do it if majority of the people are successful in being able to build software applications, which is not the case today. You take your Kirana store. The Kirana store is not going to be someone that can go build a shopping app or a neighborhood delivery app, but they need it. And actually, they could tell you the things that they want to be able to do with customers through software. And that's not because they know software, it's because they know their customer and the journeys they want the customer to be able to have, right? Which is, send me milk every Monday because usually I consume all my milk on a Monday. Silly example. But that's a predictive algorithm. Now, the Kirana store owner is not going to tell you I need a predictive algorithm, but they will tell you that it would be great if I could deliver my customers groceries as they need them without them even realizing that they need them. And for that Kirana store owner, that's better customer service, more stickiness, better share of wallet, higher repeatability. And so when you start thinking about what a self-reliant digital India or a digital Bharat really means, it really comes down to making sure that every single small business, every single person with an idea, every little girl that wants to build something has the power and the ability to do so.
Okay, that the last line particularly was really impressive, Sachin, to quote, because normally people don't tend to quote women and little girls when it comes to aspiring their dreams. So really impressive. Thank you so much for that. Okay, with every innovation, or maybe a pathbreaking step in the tech space, a fully digitized world is becoming a glaring reality. Do you think, that is necessarily a good thing?
It's a double-edged sword, right? Do I think everything needs to be software powered? No. Do I think there are things that should always be software powered? Yes. And so the line in the sand is always, what's the opportunity cost? To me, the power of being a human being is exactly that, to be a human being. It's not to do repetitive work on a mundane basis again and again. I would say that we're obviously, as a species, becoming more and more evolved. And you have to ask yourself, what are your priorities, right? And to the extent that our priorities are our families, our children, society at large, the climate, if we can have innovation that takes care of things that are otherwise A, subject to a high degree of human variance, B, hugely repetitive, or C, require massive amount of collective insight, it frees up time, A, for us to spend on the things that are higher order functions, our family, the climate, our society. And then B, it allows us to do things that are more cerebral, right? And more higher order, where we can be more creative. And that really brings out the best in people.
All right, and here's the last one. Why do you think the demand for developers and coders will outstrip the supply in the industry, which I think is apparently something that we're already seeing, right?
I mean, that ship has long sailed. There are not enough developers in the world today, and there really never will be at this point, to satisfy all the demand, especially as demand continues to increase. And the one thing, Sukriti, I leave you with is, we always think about software as something that is very stasis driven, right? It's like, oh, I'm building an app for a year, I'm building an app for 6 months, or I'm building something for 2 years. This problem of supply and demand only becomes worse when the very nature of software changes, such that the conversation today between Sukriti and Sachin has a software application that's only for this conversation, built in real time or near real time. And at the end of this podcast, it doesn't exist anymore. And so when software is being created at the speed of thought, the sheer volume far exceeds any amount of supply.
I think I second what you've just said, Sachin, because it's not just the short of supply, but it's the increasing and advancement of technology also that's happening in and around. So thank you so much. I think I thoroughly enjoyed the insights that you've shared with us in this podcast, Sachin. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you so much. Audience, hope you enjoyed and you've made notes of what Sachin has just shared with us when it comes to developing your own applications, and some beautiful insights, some very insightful, anecdotes he's given us in this conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. TechGig will be back with another session of, the episode of podcast very soon. Till then, stay tuned and please stay safe. Take care. Thank you, Sachin, once again.
Thank you.